Hey everybody, welcome to Crackback Tuesday, number 46 on the Mana League. I'm John as always, and we've got another pack of Oath of the Gatewatch here, ready to go. We've had some decent picks in the past couple of weeks to make up for some bad packs prior. Let's hope that this one is another good pack, or maybe even an expedition. I really want one. I've opened so much product and still don't have one. Maybe this pack. We'll see. Up first, we've got ourselves a Cultivator Drone. Cultivator Drone is 2 and a blue for a creature Eldrazi drone. It's a 2/3. It has Devoid. Tap to add a colorless mana to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a colorless spell, activate an ability of a colorless permanent, or pay a cost that contains colorless. Please remember that. I have definitely had this on board thinking about, ramp, awesome ramp, trying to ramp into a non-colorless spell. Keep in mind as well that just because your spell has a blue cost in it, if it's Devoid, it's still colorless. I forget that so often. This is a totally fine card. I don't think I would ever first pick it, but boy, do you want to have this card if you're blue X colorless. It's so good. It's up there with Warden of Geometries. Just super solid. Not first pickable though, unless this pack is super weak. Next up, we have an Expedite. Expedite is a single red mana for an instant. Target creature gains haste until end of turn. Draw a card. I hate this card. I hate it. People are, or were, I don't know if they still are, super high on this card. I'm talking about how it so enables Surge, and you'll get, your 6/6 through with haste, surprisingly, and it replaces itself. It replacing itself is the most true statement compared to the other two. This just does nothing for me. It takes up a card slot. It replaces itself, but that's still a card slot taken up. Not happy with Expedite. I would never first pick it. I would never pick it. I would never play it. I hate it with a passion. Not for me. Next up, we have Undying War Cleric. Undying War Cleric is a 1 and a white creature human cleric ally. It's a 2/2. It has cohort, tap an untapped ally you control. You gain 2 life. I don't like this as much as Zulaport Chain Mage, but that 2 life can get out of control quite often. I've seen people end games with like 40, 50 life because of this thing. It can get a sizable amount of life gained for you. In addition, it is a 2/2 for 2. So it's perfectly on curve. It can get in for some damage at the beginning of the game. I'm pretty happy with Undying War Cleric. I don't think I'd ever first pick it, but I include it in basically every white deck. Next up, we have Elemental Uprising. Elemental Uprising is 1 and a green for an instant. Target land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental creature with haste until end of turn. It's still a land. It must be blocked this turn if able. I think we've had this every single week, so I don't want to rehash myself too much. It's pretty darn good on turn 3. It gets significantly worse out there. Be very careful with your lands. You could find yourself totally mana screwed by playing this card. I don't super like it. Some of you do. End of story. The moral of the story is it's not first pickable, so we can move on from it. Next up, we have Zulaport Chain Mage, the opposite of Undying War Cleric. 3 and a black for a 4/2. Creature, human, shaman, ally, cohort, tap and untap to ally you control. Target opponent loses 2 life. It's the opposite. It's also pretty darn good, and I like it a little bit more because it's a bit more aggressive. In addition, if you can attack with it, you're getting in for 4 damage, which is really big. I'm pretty happy with Zulaport Chain Mage. I would never first pick it. I hope. We've seen some weak packs, but I hope I would never first pick it. But I generally include it in most black decks I play unless I'm control-y with too few allies. Next up, we have Natural State. Natural State is a single green mana for an instant. Destroy target artifact or enchantment with converted mana cost 3 or less. Nope. Absolutely not. There is no artifact, there is no enchantment that I'm really concerned about that I would ever go after this card. If it's the only green card in the pack and I'm for some reason in green, sure, I guess. But it's going to go in the sideboard. Don't ever main deck that card. Never, ever. Next up, we have a Waste. Tap for a colorless mana. You know Waste. You don't pick these first pick ever. You try not to pick them ever either because there's so many other options out there. If you find yourself late into pack 1 or even worse, late into pack 2 and you still don't have colorless sources and you need them, then yeah, take the Wastes. But in general, you want the holdout settlements. You want the crumbling vestiges. You want the unknown shores. You want the cultivator drones. All the other options that are out there. But if those have all gone by, sure, go for the Wastes. But not first pickable at all. Next up, we have Containment Membrane. Containment Membrane is 2 and a blue for an enchantment aura. It has a search cost of a single blue. Enchanted creature doesn't untap during its controller's on-tap step. I think this is totally fine. Yeah, it doesn't tap the creature. That sucks. It's kind of like Encrust. It's not like Claustrophobia. But with Cohort, there's a number of reasons that creatures are tapped, even if they didn't attack you. So I do think this is still totally fine. This is one of the few Surge cards that I have reliably surged, just because having a single blue mana left over is really easy, and it feels kind of nice. It's still a totally okay discount. It's nothing that I'm writing home about. I don't have super fond memories of surging out Containment Membrane. It's just kind of a, oh, hey, yeah, I guess this works this turn kind of deal. I would play this for 3 mana totally all the time. Totally happy with it. I would first pick it, but I wouldn't be happy about it. So let's see how the pack keeps going. Oh, Bonesaw. Bonesaw, 0 mana. Artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+0. Equip cost of 1. I know some people have said, Surge, yeah. Aggression, yeah. Just don't play this card. It's garbage. It takes up a card slot in your deck. You have to pay a mana to equip it to get a measly +1/+0. Just no. No Bonesaw. I hate Bonesaw so much. With Weapons Trainer, maybe, but still, I don't even want to do that for Weapons Trainer. Bonesaw, I'm just totally out on. I never want to pick this card. I never want to play it. I kind of want to rip it up right now, but I won't. Next up, we have Vampire Envoy. Vampire Envoy is 2 and a black for a creature, Vampire Cleric ally. It's a 1/4. It has flying. Whenever Vampire Envoy becomes tapped, you gain 1 life. I think we've had this card every single pack so far, too. Yeah, it's totally fine. It blocks really well. It attacks kind of okay. It gains you a life, so it's a 2-point life swing. Generally not first pickable, but totally includable in most black decks. In fact, I would say probably all black decks, because it would go in an aggressive allies deck because it's an ally. It would go in a control-y deck because it blocks really well. Yeah. All black decks want this, but not first pickable. On to the uncommons. We have Reckless Bushwacker, 2 and a red for a creature, goblin, warrior, ally. It's a 2/1. It has Surge for 1 and a red. It has haste, and when it enters the battlefield, if the Surge cost was paid, other creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. Way better in constructed, because of course when you play this on turn 3, you're going to have, 2 creatures out, maybe? So the +1/+0 isn't really going to be all that exciting. Obviously, this works better in some sort of, dedicated goblins constructed deck, but it is still totally fine. I don't think it's first pickable, but it is totally fine in an auto-included basically every red deck, unless you're somehow a control-y red deck, which doesn't really happen all that often. Not a first pick, but a pretty high pick. Next up, we have Birthing Hulk. Birthing Hulk is 6 and a green for a creature Eldrazi drone. It's a 5/4. It has Devoid. When it enters the battlefield, you get 2 Scions, and you can pay 1 and a colorless to regenerate it. It's a 5/4 for 7. Yeah, it's got 2 1/1s, so it's technically a 7/6, but not really. I'm not a fan of Birthing Hulk. I'm not a fan of green, as we all know. As everybody knows, most people aren't a fan of green in this format. I'm definitely not a fan of paying 7 mana for a 5/4. Let me tell you that. I don't really like Birthing Hulk. I don't think it's all that good. I'm going to not first pick it ever, and I'm generally going to try to avoid it. Not a fan of Birthing Hulk. Visions of Brutality. Another sort of removal. I've heard it called Blackifism. It's like the black pacifism. It's 1 and a black for an enchantment aura. Devoid, enchant creature. Enchanted creature can't block. Very important to remember that part. I always forget that part. Whenever enchanted creature deals damage, its controller loses that much life. So basically their creature can only attack, and if it does, it's gonna damage themselves just as much. Be careful about this card. I have won having this card on a creature because I was ahead. And so yeah, my 3/3 flyer, I will keep hitting you in the face for 3. I'll take 3, but you're going to die first because I'm ahead by 3, 4, 5, 6 points of life. So be very careful. But if you can block the creature that you put this on, it does just completely remove that creature from the game, more or less. I've been pretty happy with Visions of Brutality. I would first pick it. Yeah, let me know your experiences with Visions of Brutality. I know some people have been here or there with it, but let me know. Our rare is Deep Fathom Stalker. Deep Fathom Stalker is a creature Eldrazi. It's a 4/4. Whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card. For 3 and a colorless, target creature can't be blocked this turn. So it's a 4/4 for 6. It's a little bit overcosted, but it makes every single creature you have draw a card. And if you have the mana, if you have the colorless mana, You can make those creatures unblockable, basically guaranteeing that you're going to draw a card. I really like Deep Fathom Skulker. It's a super, super solid card. Ever so slightly expensive, so you do need to be in a bit of a controlling deck, but this thing works really well in a controlling deck. I've generally been pretty happy with Deep Fathom Skulker. Do we have a foil? We don't. We have a forest and a zombie. No expeditions yet. Someday, maybe. I am looking at Deep Fathom Skulker. I am looking at Visions of Brutality. I am looking at Containment Membrane. Containment Membrane is the weakest. It's out right away. So ultimately, it's between efficient removal-ish card or not at all efficient, super powerful draw engine. I think I'm going to go for the Deep Fathom Skulker. It's just that much more powerful, but I could certainly see Visions of Brutality because of its removal aspects. Let me know what you have taken. Would you have taken the Deep Fathom Skulker? Would you have taken the Visions of Brutality? Is there something else in the pack that you would have taken instead? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on Twitter at The Mana Leak. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. And you can also find me on Facebook at facebook.com/The Mana Leak. You've already found me here on YouTube. You've got the comment section down below. Please make use of that. As well, if you like my videos, please click the like button and the subscribe button so that you can stay up to date on all the latest Crack-A-Pack Tuesdays, Wacky Wednesdays, Spiky Saturdays, Top 10 Thursdays, and all the other videos that pop up here and or there. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all next time.